Good morning. Good morning, everybody, and happy Thursday.
Steve Wagner in the house.
Hello, Steve. I don't know you, but it sounds like you do.
Hi, Steve.
Do you know Steve?
I believe if it is the Steve I'm thinking about I know him associated by Killcliff.
Nice.
But I could be wrong. Could be the last name, the first name. Not really
Steve,
sure.
tell us where you're from. Let's say good morning to our people.
Yes, good morning, Sarah, Kristen, Jeanette,
Shredded Sarah.
Shredded Sarah, Sarah Shredded,
Hashtag-
Sarah Shredded Novik. That's what it is.
Hashtag earned not given.
It feels sweeter when it's earned.
Lori,
Good morning, Teresa, Lori, Tiffany, Josie.
Wow, Grand Canyon. I
Lauren.
want you to post a photo from it. Tammy. Tina.
Tammy and Tina.
Tammy Tina. T
Tima.
squared.
Teamy.
Tima. That's a nice tune name.
Tima.
Jessica. Lauren Koch. You guys are awesome. Heather
Good morning,
Hernandez.
Heather. Good morning, Erin. All right.
Okay, so today.
All right, kids. Listen up here.
So, you guys know that we always say how you do anything is how you do everything, right? And today's concept is going to relate to self-care in general. But it's going to be more of a mindset related topic. So, the concept of doing things in order to seek approval from others. Now,
You know what I titled this one?
but what if they don't like me?
But what if they don't like me? Good morning, Veroni.
So raise your hand or drop an emoji if you've been there before.
Been where?
Seeking approval from others. I know that I have for probably until
If you
a
don't,
year ago, I would say.
if you don't bust up an emoji right now, you are just
You're full of shit.
delusional.
You're full of shit. You're not a real human.
I love topics that make us get real with ourselves.
Yeah, we get real with ourselves, and
Real.
and look, you guys, we want you to grow with us. And the biggest part of growth is just surrendering to the process. Like, get real with yourself, dude. And man, what interview did we listen to? I think it was Amy Schumer, right? Or Lady Gaga
With
was
Oprah?
talking about the ego. I think it was
I
Lady
think
Gaga. Yes, it was Lady Gaga. And, your ego is basically it's like your brain has two parts. It's like you got your ego, which is basically like seeking approval from others, always trying to look perfect, be perfect, be a, grade A student, like I never fail, I got my shit together, basically like Instagram life, consider it ego. Versus real life, which is, man, I go through shit. In life, we stumble all the time. If we didn't stumble, we will never learn. That's just the reality of it. But being aware in order to get up when you stumble requires a real sense of awareness, and also, what's the word that I'm looking for?
Self-discovery. Another word for awareness, but what goes deeper. Self-analysis.
Yes. And humility.
Yes.
And humility, right? Notice, the greatest teachers in the world, right? Like, if you think about Mahatma Gandhi.
You said that really amazing.
Thank you. And anybody who has reached with their message so many people, like let's say Jesus, for example, I would say he's probably the most influential teacher on earth, right? I mean, he lived over two centuries ago, and like we're still raving about him.
And whether you believe in him or not, you know about him, whether it's a fictional character to you or a real life thing.
I'm Jewish, but I have so much respect for my homie. Hey, he was Jewish too. He grew up 30 minutes from my house. Shit. We go to get baklava where he was born. You remember when we went to Nazareth?
Yeah.
Right?
But it's the messages that are given out. Right? It's the messages that we grasp and that we hold on to. So whether or not you believe in Jesus or God or whatever, it's everything that we can learn from the people that we have heard the most, whose messages have reached the most people, right? Like you said Gandhi, but you could also then even
I have
more,
a few in the back of my head, but like their names just won't pop up. So
but any great philosophers or thought leaders, right, that are more modern of today, right? The Oprahs, right? The Rock,
Lady Gaga,
right?
The Rock.
They all. If your message spreads, there has to be a certain amount of humility that you have, because you don't know those things and you cannot pass on those thoughts if you don't analyze yourself humbly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It takes a bigger person to recognize their faults than the things that they're good at.
Oh, repeat that.
It takes a bigger person to recognize their faults than what they're good at. We all love to talk about what we're good at or what we used to be good at or what we can do or what we did or what's awesome. That's what social media is for. Right? That's how people use it. And that's also one of the huge reasons why we're conditioned to seek validation or influenced by what we say or post based off of what kind of response we're going to get. How many likes am I going to get? Right? And I won't even lie about it. Like, there are times still where I think about that. And I have to remind myself and tell myself it really doesn't fucking matter because you're doing your best. It really doesn't matter because the message that you're trying to send is going to reach the people who need to hear it. It doesn't matter how many fucking likes you have. Yeah. I speak to myself with swear words because it gets the point across to me. So this is self-talk in a positively aggressive manner.
Yeah. Christina, all the way from Scotland. I love
Christina Machina.
You're a machine, baby.
For the record, I do know that that's not how you say your last name, but I think it should be.
Christina, you need to vox me, girl. Keep me posted on all of your greatness. So, the concept of self-analysis versus validation. And this is why, if we've coached you before, we told you that the scale doesn't fucking matter. Because your ego wants to get on the scale and lose weight, but the reality is that your progress is not dictated by the scale. And you know that you're making true, sustainable progress within your life when you constantly self-analyze yourself. Now, what do I mean by constantly self-analyze yourself? For one, you need to be clear on how you need to show up each and every day. What are the things you have to get done in order to move you forward, right? So now, clarity leads to action. If you don't have clarity, chances are is that you're going to take less action.
Because you're lost.
Right. So, and that's the concept of getting better, faster results, right? Like, you want to get faster results, you need clarity and you need consistency within your targets, right? And the scale has nothing to do with it, because the scale is really a way of seeking validation. It says nothing about your progress or who you become in the process. I mean, in the long run, it kind of does, but whether you weigh 181 pounds or 179 pounds doesn't make you a different person. However, if you have like a
Can we pause for a second?
Yeah.
Keep the however in your mind.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if you weigh 181 pounds or 179 pounds. It doesn't make you a different person.
However, whether you weigh 200 pounds or 140 pounds does make you a different person. And that's not because of the number on the scale, but it's because of all the changes that you had to make in order to get there.
And can I say too, you don't get there unless the changes that are made happen internally.
Yep, self-analysis.
Which is what turns you into a different person. You're still the same person. You are a more developed person. You are a wiser person. Mm-hmm. You are more well-rounded, but not round.
Hopefully not. And if you are, then you need our help. But you have to be ready for it. So, where was I going with that? Self-analysis versus validation. Look, most people in the world, unless they've been on a self-discovery journey, right? Which is very spiritual, by the way, and that's why weight loss is a spiritual process, and that's why I'm so much against bodybuilding, because there's nothing spiritual about it. It's all ego-based, and that's why very rarely do you ever see a bodybuilder who has actually sustained results for decades. You wanna know what a successful person is? A successful person is somebody who has not only achieved result in any area of their life, but has been able to sustain it and get better throughout decades in their life with it. So guess what? If you step on stage and you look amazing and 2 weeks from now you look average, then you're not successful. And I don't care what you looked like when you were on stage, because yesterday and the past does not fucking matter. The only thing that matters is today and tomorrow, right? However, your today dictates your tomorrow. See where I'm going with that?
I have so much more admiration for anybody who can maintain an all right physique than somebody who can get a rockin' one and then lose it.
Yeah.
Right? Because it isn't about just looking awesome for a day.
Yeah.
Right? Something that I say too is, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready.
Woo!
Right? Oh, summer's coming. If you're already ready, you ain't got shit to do except for what you already do. Right? Like, imagine that. If you stay ready, you never have to get ready. So anything, any event, any task, anything that comes to you, you are prepared. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. If you stay ready, you never have to get ready.
Yeah. And that's a point where that's something that everybody should seek out. In our opinion. If you don't want to, that's totally fine. However, I can tell you 100% that if that's not something that you're looking for, then your ego-based and wherever it is that you're at now is going to be taken away from you, because you won't know how to handle it, right? I think God said it in the Bible too, like, of course, I can't quote the Bible, and what I know in the Bible is in Hebrew.
I think that's what he said.
But like, you gotta. Yeah, I don't know how that quote goes, but I have that idea in my head. Nothing you do sustainably
happens because of your ego. Zero things ever. Yeah. It's not sustainable because your ego needs to constantly be fed something else, more validation. And validation is us seeking, is us getting a confirmation in the way that we think we need a confirmation based off of, so we act for the confirmation that we desire, not because it's something that we truly believe or want to do.
Yeah.
How many people, let's talk about right now for a second, what's going on in the world. As we are doing this live, there is a lot of shit happening in the world. There's a coronavirus. There's now this like
Corona is coming back.
Oh yeah, surprise. But there's this like now, right, the Black Lives Matter, which is a movement that's been happening for a long time. But it's now this, like everything equality, people posting black boxes on Instagram. How many people, I wonder how many people posted a black box because everybody else was doing it and because they wanted to feel like they were making a difference because they posted a fucking black box. And now I'm not saying that if you posted a black box that like, here's the thing that we're realizing. No matter what you do or say, somebody's going to be against it. If you post a black box, then you hate cops. If you don't post a black box, then you're racist. So it's like no matter what, and this is why I titled this the way that I did, is like, what if they don't like me? Guess what? No matter what you do, somebody's going to disagree because we're all different, which is an insanely beautiful thing, but we all need to accept that we're different and agree to disagree. Oh, you voted for this president and I hate that president, so now I'm not going to be your friend. Sorry, last time I checked, we're still all fucking people. We still all have skin and legs and arms if we're lucky. Right? Like,
but here's the thing too, like this is great self-analysis for you because you will also like by having awareness with regards to people's responses, you will also have an understanding of where most people operate, whether they operate from their ego or whether they really operate from their heart. Right? Because the ones who care,
I'll say it.
Please.
The ones who matter in your life don't care, right? Like the ones who matter will be supportive regardless. I have a friend that I can think of off the top of my head who, in their belief, like being gay and their religion and how they were brought up, like being gay is not a thing that is like approved. However, because she recognizes that we're all people, she still loves me and cares about me, right? So those who matter don't care, and those who do care don't matter. Mm-hmm. If they care so much about what you're doing that they will troll you and go out of their way to bully you or say some dumb shit about what you're doing or what you said or what you posted or how you look or whatever, they don't matter to you. They shouldn't matter to you.
Yeah.
Those who matter don't care, and those who care don't matter.
I want each and every one of you guys who's been on some kind of like, self exploration journey, whether it's, coming out of the closet, or dating somebody from, a different race, though we have one race and it's called the human race. However, like people fucking judge, and that's the reality.
A person with a different shade of skin.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. Before I started dating girls, I used to date black guys.
I was always into black guys.
Yeah, they're soulful.
And then
shit,
somehow I married a white man.
They're real men. Like why? Like so like not to hate on the white men, but like white American men are soft, dude. Like unless you're in the military,
generally speaking, we
right. Generally speaking,
and this goes for all Americans. I'm gonna speak on behalf of an average American. Mm-hmm. I don't believe I'm an average American. I believe I used to be one, but the average American is not cultured. The average American, we live in a bubble. Look, America is massive.
It's the greatest, right? They're like, why should I focus on what's happening in another country?
Right. So to our defense, because the country is so massive, it's like we can go so many places without leaving or going over the sea or across a border.
Yeah.
Right. So to our defense, we have everything we need here. Why would we leave? Right. However, that keeps us from understanding other cultures and the way that people live and what real problems actually are. Yeah. We don't have problems. We do not have problems. We have inconveniences.
Yep. So Yeah, it's like you go to the store and you're like, oh man, like they're out of my favorite creamer, but they have oat milk. It's like you go.
It was the worst day. The store ran out of milk.
Like when I lived in Jamaica, you guys, like there were some days, like, you know, let's say there were like travel delays because, you know, there was like a snowstorm somewhere in the US. Like, dude, grocery stores had nothing in them.
All the kale is gone.
Except for herring and rice for like weeks. Like there were weeks where our house didn't have regular milk or lettuce.
That still is an inconvenience. Starvation is a problem. Dirty, shitty water, when that's all you have to drink, is a problem. Not having a, what is it called? Like the sewage, like where you have to just shit on the ground, like not having
water system. I don't know.
Yeah,
How do you call it that?
like in third world countries, like there are real problems, right? People are literally walking around with no shoes on. And we're like, oh my God, like this pair of shoes like got a little scuff on it.
It reminds me of that girl we saw in Costco who was actually barefoot.
Not wearing shoes.
Hippies do the same thing.
In the middle of coronavirus, it was amazing. The dude was wearing his mask and it was like falling off his face. He went to the opposite side of the cash register in Costco. You know, in Costco, you stand on the one side. He is like literally on the cart side, standing behind the cashier, bringing up his shit. They have plexiglass and he's like, can you go around? And the girl is not wearing shoes. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
I think they're new to the universe.
But, you know, let me get an amen if you've been on some kind of like transformation journey. But look, any sort of transformation journey requires humility. And a huge part of humility is you're going to get uncomfortable. Like you have to get real with yourself. Like I remember when I came out, it was like so scary. And I mean, for me, I grew up in a, you know, traditional Jewish family. So I mean, for almost 10 years, like my mom and I, like, you know, our relationship suffered because of it. It was extremely uncomfortable, right? But like any sort of transformation journey that, you know, requires you to get real with yourself and to I don't want to say hit rock bottom, but just like get so vulnerable, like extremely vulnerable, requires so much humility, right? But in order to seek and find who you truly are, first, you're going to need to get real humble with yourself, real fucking humble with yourself, right? And also like with regards for weight loss, right? Like how many assessments do you get? I'm like, man, like they're like driven from their ego. And that's okay, because unless you're taught otherwise, you just don't even think about it. You're like, yeah, I eat healthy.
You know what?
Right? It's like you're so blocked because like it's almost like you're trying to please even like, you know, who your future coaches are, right? But it's like, no, like, you know, like if you've been on a call with me, like you heard me say, okay, like real truth, like I want to hear about the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, I
want to see your true colors.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second, and I'm going to stick up for the ego. If it weren't for our ego, we wouldn't even begin the journey. Right? You have to have a reason to begin. Yes. Right? If that reason comes from your ego, great. At least it got you started. However, you cannot stay in that place. And isn't all of life a transformation journey?
Yes.
The difference is whether or not you're aware of the journey and making an effort to transform.
Amen.
No matter what, we're evolving.
Amen.
Whether you like it or not, we are evolving, and it is a journey for your entire life, from the first breath you take to the last.
Amen.
The difference between getting where you want to go and not is removing the ego, internally transforming, and being fully aware that that's what you're doing, being okay to not be liked for everything that you do or say.
Yeah. So the point is, like, so many people block themselves of let's not even get to what you're truly capable of, full potential, because I think
we don't even know.
Like full potential, it's like very few people in life have achieved their full potential. Jesus is one of them. Look at the impact he made.
I think that potential is infinite.
Right, potential is infinite.
And if you keep reaching, you never actually reach it.
Right. And by the way, your weight loss journey is like that too. It's not like when I reach 140, then life will be. Like you constantly keep on evolving, and that's
once I get here, I'll be happy. It's not the truth.
Right. You have to be happy during it, because otherwise you're never going to be happy and satisfied.
Yeah.
Right. But again, that's the concept of just getting real with yourself.
Amen.
So, the truth is that, the whole point of this topic is to just bring awareness into, like, realizing how it is that you operate on a day-to-day basis, right? And if currently you mostly operate from your ego, which 99.999% of people in the world operate from their ego their entire life, and never really from their heart. It requires some sort of self-analysis in order to harmonize it, right? We have our ego for a reason, right? Because I think a part of the importance of the ego is to help you reach farther, right? But a word that we use a lot is harmonization. There needs to be some kind of harmonization, right? Because if you're not operating from your heart, you're not aware of your purpose. So you're going to be spinning your wheels, literally not going anywhere, right? And this is what will make a lot of people successful in weight loss, and this is what will, make some people like spin their wheels for years, because they're seeking results for validation, and they're seeking results that are ego driven. Results that are ego driven will forever block you, right? Or just like somebody saying, I want $1 million. For one, $1 million is not enough. For two, why do you want it? Right? Like if you're not aware of why it is that you want to earn something, guess what? For one, you're never truly going to earn it, because you're going to need to sacrifice a lot. And the ego is only willing to sacrifice what's comfortable. Right? Like your ego will get your ass to the gym because you want to look better. Your ego will make you do an hour or two of cardio. But your ego will not make you want to work on your shoulder mobility if that's your greatest weakness, because guess what? Nobody can actually see the impact of what working on your shoulder mobility will do for you. Right? So, like assess yourself each and every day. Like, for one, you need to set an intention for your day. Like when you get up in the morning, like, what do I need to do? Like for one, do I want to get better? If you don't want to get better, fine, right? You don't need to do the following steps. But, for as long as you want to get better, for one, ask yourself, what will I be required to do today in order to get better? Get real with yourself. Get clear with regards to your targets. Clarity leads to action. Action leads to progress. Really, it's that simple.
Hulk smash.
Yeah. And then just get over the hump. Yeah, you're going to experience some turbulence. Yeah, there's going to be some stumbling blocks, aka stepping stones.
AKA life.
Yeah, but it is only your purpose that will drive you to rise above it and to get through it. Without a purpose, when shit gets uncomfortable, you're going to start making excuses, right? Your ego never takes ownership. It's always somebody else's fault, never the ego's fault. Your ego will blame your parents, it will blame your kids, it will blame the mailman, the weather, the coronavirus, right? But your heart will get through anything because it is directly aligned with your purpose. So it will challenge you to get better, right? So, you know,
I love conversations like this.
me too.
I love, you know why I realized that I love telling the truth. Like yesterday, we're talking about money, and I love telling you you're gonna have to fucking work your ass off. Because what that does is it either gets you to realize you need to step up, because none of life is easy. I think we can all probably agree. You have had difficulties at some point in your life, right? That's never going to change. Mm-hmm. There will always be difficulty, especially if you are trying to get better, especially if you are reaching. Mm-hmm. Shit is hard.
Yeah.
Right? And if at some point life does throw you a bone, you're so grateful for it. Right? So yes, everything in life is not everything in life, sorry. Any kind of improvement, any kind of transformation, anything you want to get better at, there's difficulty. Life throws shit in the way. The banana peels on Mario Kart. Right? And we're constantly trying to adjust to all these things that are coming at us and our busy schedules and our whatever. Right? And that's never going to change. And when you learn to accept that, you learn to work with it, rather than fight against it. So why I love so much just being brutally honest about how shit is real is it gets you either to step up, or at least I know that I told you the truth, and so you can't say that you didn't know. You have two options. Go through the fight, or let it kick you while you're down. Mm-hmm. Two options.
So let's transition to the conversation of, you know, what if somebody in this room is like, man, like this is the first time I'm hearing this, and like it really hits home. However, I have, you know, like my entire family like constantly keeps judging me, and like, what do I do now? Like, if
I would say, do you live with your family? Do you, like, how much time do you spend with them? Look, you have a choice. You have a choice. From the age of, I want to say from the age of 18 and up, but let's be honest, like, there are kids younger than 18 that make choices for themselves.
Yeah. I would say most kids younger than 18.
That are life-altering.
Yep.
Right? So, but from the ages of 18 above, when you are no longer considered by law, I guess, to be dependent on your parents. You're considered by law now to be an adult, make your own decisions, blah, blah, blah. Right?
Yeah, you don't need a guardian to sign for you.
Yes. You can sign your own shit. Right? So, from that age up, for sure, everything in life is a choice. If you live with your parents and you're 24, or even if you live with your parents, you're in college, let's say, and you're like 19 or 20, you don't have to live with your parents. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to change some things in order to be able to afford to live on your own or be homeless. But it is a choice. It's all a choice. So if you're not around the people that you want to be around, and this might be hard for some people to hear too, in regards to the relationship that you're in romantically, if it is toxic to you, get out. Yeah. Get out. Nobody's keeping you there. You are keeping you there. So that's probably the most dramatic and the most difficult relationship to get out of, and that's why I say, especially if it's abusive to some degree. I do recognize that it's not an easy decision to make, but the bottom line is that it is still a decision. So you can edit the relationships that you have. You can edit the amount of time you spend physically with certain people, or speaking with certain people, or consuming news or media, or this is all environmental. We talked about social, mental, and what was the other one? Anyways. I forget.
So Andrea Ramos just made a comment, and every time somebody says JK, it's like you're halfway serious. So now I want to speak to Andrea, or like, you know, she said, not if you're Mexican, or, you know, if you come from a background where families are very close together, I get it. Being an Israeli is literally the same thing. Here's the thing. If you come from a background where the people in your life, let's say your family members, are all up in your face about it, if you let them lead you in the direction that they want you to go in, you're letting them do that to you because their conviction is stronger than yours. And you always have a choice. Always have a choice. Look, my mom, okay, like 10, 15 years ago, right? Like in her perfect world, I would have married a Jewish doctor and I would have had 2 or 3 kids by now, and I would have been a mom, and like the rest of my life would have been mediocre, because on the surface, right, it would seem as if my life was keeping up with the Joneses, but I would have not been happy in my marriage because I'm in love with this one, and you know, like I'm gay, right?
What?
Right, and then like, you know, I believe that whatever starts in chaos ends in chaos. So if I had kids from a husband who I was not happy with, guess what? I would not be grateful for my kids. I would have been a shitty mom. I wouldn't have gone on a self-discovery journey. I wouldn't have known who I was, and therefore my decision-making process throughout my entire life would have been compromised, because life is literally the compound effect. However, my conviction was stronger than my mom's and my grandma and my aunts and the rest of the family. And I actively made a decision to dissociate physically. And it wasn't easy. It was really, really hard, and we all cried. However, I'm so insanely grateful for it, because sometimes the people who love you hold you back in a way that they don't realize. And you can't blame them, because look, they want the best for you, and they think that their story, the story that they tell themselves, is the story that you have to follow. However, that is why it is so important for you to be aware of who you truly are. Because if you're not aware, you're never going to seek your full potential. You will always listen to other people's advice on how to live your life. You're never gonna authentically make your own decisions, because you don't know how to, because your entire like set of life choices has been basically based off of other people. You don't know how to make decisions, so therefore life happens to you. Though life always happens because of you. Not knowing how to make a decision is literally the worst thing that somebody can do for themselves, because then they leave it to chance.
Or making a decision based off of what somebody else wants you to do. Now look, I'm very fortunate that I grew up in a family where like my parents are very accepting, and you know, I was actually very afraid to tell my dad about us at one point, because I remember, like, he's old school, and I remember him making some references about like being gay and whatever, like in their era when they grew up, like it was even worse, right, than it is now. And so I was afraid, but you know, I've been lucky to have parents that love me regardless and have accepted me, whatever. I know there are people watching this who have been disowned by their families because of decisions they made to make their own lives better. Guess what? I've said this before, at the end of the day, the only person you're guaranteed to go to sleep with and wake up with is you. Not your parents, not your sister, not your cousins, not your BFF, not even your significant other. The only person guaranteed, if you have the fortune of waking up each day that you get to wake up with, is you. So the decisions that matter the most are the ones that benefit you. And guess what? Like, some moms might be thinking, yeah, but I make decisions for my kids and da. Well, it still benefits you somehow, because those kids give you fulfillment. Right? Making decisions for those kids gives you fulfillment. So it's still for you. We're all selfish. Guess what? Even Tony Robbins. Let's take somebody who's like very philanthropic.
Yeah, Tony Robbins is a great example.
Right? So Tony Robbins, he gives. And we'll be like, oh, you're so selfless. Guess why he gives? Because it fulfills his purpose. It fulfills his mission.
Yep.
It still benefits him emotionally or mentally or whatever he's gaining from it to give. And that's a beautiful place to be in. And again, why Sarit and I want to make a shit ton of money is because that's how we want to fulfill our purpose as well.
Yeah.
So regardless, like you call yourself selfish or not, every decision we make is selfish for some reason or another, even if it's for somebody else. Makes me feel better and to please this person.
And you know, this is what we're talking about, the harmonization of the ego and the non-ego, right? Like, you have to be selfish in order to be selfless.
And we think of this word selfish as bad. Like, oh, if you're selfish,
No.
oh, now you're bad. That's bad. Selfless is then somehow good. But it's not good if you're not taking care of yourself. Because then you have nothing to give.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, forget the word selfish being good or bad. It's neutral. It's whatever you make it. And you have to, look, you got to take care of number one. And number one always has to be you.
The difference between positive selfish and negative selfish is the purpose.
The
right?
intention, yeah.
If you are selfish in a way where, let's say, you know,
You're hurting.
Let's say you're a stay-at-home mom and like your husband leaves the house at 5 a.m., doesn't get back at 8 p.m. and all you do is literally like spend his money, then you're a terrible selfish person and you're an
True.
asshole,
True.
right? However, a good selfish person is somebody who sets boundaries with regards to their life, how much they interact with people or what they do and how they, you know, manage their time so that they can spend enough time serving others and developing themselves in a way that they can give out more.
Very good point.
Right? So by the end of the day, it's all about the purpose.
The intention.
Right.
Yep. And that's also what, man, like, I could go on so many tangents.
But, you know, my point is, you know, if anybody like lives in a home or has a family or, you know, believes that they are either stuck or can only evolve or develop so much because their family will judge them if they break up with so-and-so, or their family will judge them if they start eating or exercising in a certain way.
Or if they move out.
Then guess what? You're just not convinced. You're just not as convinced as your family is that doing that is the best thing for you. And that's okay. But that's why it's so important to analyze yourself, because the more time you spend analyzing yourself, the more clear the path will get with regards to what it is that you need to do, right?
Why don't we make some decisions that we want to?
Because we're scared of what other people will say.
It's hard.
And that's the importance of knowing your purpose.
It's hard. I was in a marriage with a dude for 3 months. And you know what? I'm grateful for that because it taught me a lot. It really did help transform pieces of me that needed to be transformed. And, you know, I heard this from you first, was like, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I believe he came into my life for a reason. Now, even like that decision to leave was very difficult because I knew I was going to be hurting people. I knew I was going to be hurting people in the now. But in the long run, I knew it was going to be better for everybody. So you have to understand that. It's like people may disown you or say whatever about you until they realize why you made that decision. And sometimes it takes years, sometimes it takes decades. My family might wonder, Erin, why haven't you come home for how many Christmases? 2 or 3?
If we were not to go this year, but we're gonna do it this year, it would have been 3. So.
Okay, so Erin, why didn't you come home for 2 Christmases in a row? I've spent every Christmas with my family for 31 years, for 30 years. right? And then 2 years in a row, I don't go home. And we live a 16-hour drive away from them, a 2-hour flight, right? Like, but when they realize why I did that, why I've stayed where I'm at, what mission I'm on, why I need to do that, they'll understand and they'll come around. Your mom, completely 100% not okay with you being gay and dating girls. Even when I went to Israel the first time, anytime we would touch each other or hold hands or do anything, she felt shame. Because in her world, that's not accepted.
Right.
So your decisions made her feel a certain way, which could make it easy for you to not make the decisions because it makes somebody else feel a certain way when that person is feeling that way because of themselves. Not actually because of what you're doing, but just because of themselves.
So, right, like, was I acting selfish when I still held Erin's hand when my mom's like, we're in a public place? She's like, we're in a public place, like, take your hand off of her. And I'm like, no. That could lead to a turmoil in my mom's stomach, but I knew that sticking up for myself was the right thing. And I don't care what anybody's judgments would be. However, when you haven't taken the time to ask yourself what is truly the right thing, right? You're always going to be seeking validation from others, right? And that's why, you know, my mom's relationship and mine has completely evolved is because we're such exact opposites. And therefore, I feel like, you know, throughout all these years of struggle, we were actually able to learn a lot from one another. And I'm extremely grateful for her because I think, you know, she's the reason why I love so hard is because I got that from her. But, you know, had I not known what my purpose and my mission is, I wouldn't have stuck for my own decision at certain points of my life that, you know, led me to where we are right now and where we're going. Now, look, you guys, every single decision that you made defines the rest of your life. Right? It's not like, oh, like tell me one moment that defines the rest of your life. No, what you do right now will define the rest of your life because your life is literally a series of decisions.
And what you said is twofold. Every decision that you make, you have to think about. For one, you should always stand up for yourself and what you believe in. Now, you don't have to go put people down or hurt people because of it, right? Like, always come from love. But you have to always stick up for yourself and you have to realize what is the priority. With this decision and this decision, where does my priority lie? If Sarit's priority lied more in her family, she would have let go of my hand. But Sarit's future and Sarit's priority lied in the relationship between us, so she will keep holding my hand.
Powerful.
It's mental, it's not mental, it's the concept, right? And the intention is like, yes, I could let go of Erin's hand and I know she'll still love me. However, it's important for me at this moment, for our future and for my mom and our relationship, for me to hold her hand and stick up for myself and stick up for our relationship because it's not going anywhere.
Yep. And guess what happened over time? It got better.
She now calls me her second daughter.
Yeah. And she's proud of you. And you guys saw her like popping up on the show the other day, right? But it requires friction and it requires overcoming resistance. But in order for you to overcome resistance, the force in which you exert must be greater than the force that's been put on you.
Yep.
And that is the power of intention. When you have an intention, right? Like it allows you to see the road ahead and no matter what's coming at you, right? And how the walls are closing in, your force is going to direct you in that light and you're going to like exert a greater source instead of resisting it, right? Because when you resist it, you're blocking yourself, right? Like think about like you going through life is literally like going through a tunnel. You know, we're all destined one way, but it's the decisions that we make, right, that will dictate, you know, where that tunnel would lead us. So like every step that you take matters. every step that you don't take matters.
So take the right steps. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Guess what? You know what? I had some people actually when I got a divorce from my husband, I had a lot of people who took it very personally. The maid of honor in my wedding was for some reason, upset with me. And I straight up said, look, there's no rule book on life. I'm doing the best that I can with what I'm given. I'm thinking forward into the future. And honestly, not just what's best for me, but if what's best for me isn't in this marriage because it's going to become toxic over time, and the longer you stay in it, the worse it gets, I'm getting out now. Right? So people may disown you. Mm-hmm. My maid of honor, right? Who I considered my best friend at the time. And now, look, like, I'm happy for her and where she's at in life, and I'm sure that she would feel the same, I hope. And if I ran into her, it would probably be fine. However, we don't talk. We don't talk. So people will come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, but you got to look out for number one, and you got to have a good intention.
So good.
And it ain't easy, baby, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
Look, so speaking about intentions, if you are at some point in your journey where your intention is actually to seek, a sustainable body that you earned and that you truly love, then you have to register for the web class that we have Tuesday after next, June 30th.
It's coming up.
Yeah, and seats are limited. So seriously, stop snoozing. Like we just talked about it. Like every decision that you take or not take will dictate the rest of your life. And you guys already know that we are on a mission to transform the lives of millions
through the same movement, nutrition, and lifestyle habits that have transformed ours.
So nothing is going to stop us because we're in a forward trajectory regarding, that tunnel that we're facing.
We are the tornado.
Because this is our purpose. This is our lifelong mission. And therefore, we're going to educate, right? In order to help anybody who's struggled with weight loss or just not in a point where they're just, fulfilled with their body to actually get that body. Thank you, Tammy, for dropping it.
Tammy just dropped the link. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link's going to be below in the description.
Yeah, improviesolutions.com/webinar.
Webinar.
You need to do yourself a favor and sign up for it. This is literally This is going to be the best hour of your life. Like the amount of information that we're going to give is insane. Oh, and by the way, it's free in case you were wondering. Right? So you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Holla.
And we've been putting so much work into this. Why? Because we want to help you.
You're grinding on the weekends if you watch our Instagram stories.
Yeah.
Actually, did they get put on Facebook too? I don't even know.
I don't know.
Anyways, so yes, Tammy dropped the link. If you're on YouTube, the link is below. Click, get signed up. If it's after June 30th, that link is invalid on YouTube. At the moment, but I'm sure we'll do another one, so we'll be sure to let you know. But get signed up now, and we love you guys so much. I do see your comments coming in, not all of them, but I see some pop up, and I see who you guys are: Crystal, Reggie, Brittany, Lisa.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah, you guys. We go on so many tangents as it is now, and we're grateful for the number of people who are here watching this live. But if we responded to every single one, we would be here all day.
Speaking about sustainable weight loss too, tomorrow's interview is really going to help reel in how you can achieve your perfect body without tracking calories or macros.
No way. Without MyFitnessPal?
No.
Without a scale?
No.
Without counting all the numbers?
No, without all this bullshit.
Without weighing all my food?
No. Oh, wow. Remember, interviews on Friday are at 6 a.m. Okay?
If you want to catch it live.
It's going to be an incredible one, so make sure to hop on at 6 a.m. to find out how, if you've been a slave to MyFitnessPal app, or, just been spinning your wheel in circles, then guess what? You need to get on tomorrow's interview. You need to get on, in fact, all the things that we do.
And when we say 6 a.m., it's 6 a.m. Pacific time. So 9 Eastern.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do all the things. Do all the things we do.
Yeah. Do all the things.
That sounds really arrogant. But here's the thing. We really, truly do believe if you stick with us, if you stay in our community, if you engage in any of our programs, products, services, they are all designed to help you. Yeah. Right? And the more financially invested you are, the more you're invested in yourself and your actions as well. Mm-hmm. So consider. The webinar is free though. So click the link, improveyousolutions.com /webinar. And we will see ya mañana.
6 a.m.
Bye.
Bye, guys.